my celebration. What a way to start our show, Pualilia. I tell you, we stay rocking out over here on our Aloha Friday with, and I like to hear some more. I'm sorry, we gotta stop the party. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, you know, that's the only way to start. It's the only way to start our Aloha Friday with Loa Greyson. With and party on a Friday is at noon is the best way to go. I have my partner in crime all the way from the slopes of the Kohala mountain range. Pualilia, Hanamaika'i, aloha Pualilia.
Woo-hoo! I love Aloha Fridays, especially this one, because if you can't tell, I'm a huge Loa Greyson fan.
Wow. Absolutely. Yeah. So, Pualilia and I are so excited about sharing our Aloha Friday with you all. And I'm so glad, Pualilia, that you're here with me for this conversation with a mutual friend for so many years. And it's exciting to have him on board. Yeah, Pua.
Absolutely. Like I said, huge fan. I've been following Loa Greyson's musical career, and then actually everything in his life, all this talent. And I'm not trying to say I'm a stalker, but kind of a stalker.
But, and we have pictures too, yeah.
Right? Kind of a stalker. You know what? Okay. If there's good talent out there, I'm right there, always.
There's room in my life for stalkers.
Right. Well, of course, we want to welcome you to our Aloha Friday with the Sandwich Island Social Network. And of course, we always have these presentations for island people with island hearts. And you have one of the biggest island hearts I know.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, Loa Greyson is with us for our Aloha Friday, and Aloha Friday is an interactive chat-driven show with many of our friends dropping by to say hello. We'll be acknowledging those comments as we go through our time together, as we talk story. Loa, Pualilia, and I have been really blessed, Loa, to have known you for a number of years. We know you and your Ohana for a number of years here in Southern California. Together we have enjoyed your music, work with the Gray Ohana. Many of it has, you've done much in the community, and we've gone along for the ride. And in fact, little known fact, the first time I met Pualilia was the release of you had a release party at the Mai Tai Bar in Long Beach.
And 2011.
2011. And
that's right.
Right? And there was this girl snapping away with her camera, and I went, wow, she was taking all those pictures. And it's the first time that I met her. So this is kind of like a reunion, all three of us together.
It's been 10 years.
Can you believe that? Oh, what a perfect time to celebrate the 10-year anniversary, right?
Absolutely.
Back then, and here we are again together. That was a good night, by the way. That was a lot of fun hanging with you guys. Got to meet everybody there, and
yes,
I think the Kalama brothers came. Justin Young.
They did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sean Ishimoto was there. He played with me as well, brother Sean.
Right.
Yeah, Sean was there, and Yoza Allen. Oh, Yoza
was there. That's right.
Yoza was there. Yep, I got pictures of Yoza. You know what? We got some friends dropping in right now. We got Marty Burns. Marty saying, "Brother Kamaka and Loa want to say aloha, good morning." There's Marty. Oh man, we get them popping in over here. We get Valerie. She is saying, "Whoo, good morning, aloha everyone." Who else?
Oh, the diva's in. The diva
Uh-oh.
is in.
Uh-oh. And
Oh, that's me, by the way.
there's somebody named Loa Greyson saying, "Oh yeah, let's do this, man." Who else?
But the
Uh-oh, we have
diva's in. The diva of all divas just came in.
Thyra Abraham. Thyra says, Kamaka Pualilia Loa. Where does Loa perform when COVID is over? We'll be talking about that. That's a great
Of
Yes,
question.
we
course.
will.
That's a great question. Thank you, Thyra. We'll be sure to talk about that. Melvin Lead is in the house. Aloha,
Auntie
Melvin.
Melvin. Oh my gosh, you go way back.
Woo! Melvin has an awesome Facebook Live every Sunday, and
Oh, she's great.
beautiful music she does. And in
She's
fact, we
amazing.
had her on our Aloha Friday show a couple of weeks
A
ago.
couple weeks ago.
Here is Pauhana, Seattle. Big aloha from Seattle. Welcome, welcome,
That's
welcome.
my
Aloha,
brother, Peter
Seattle.
Dwayne. Pete Dwayne. He we grew up out there in Hawaii together. He was in my line at my wedding. He
Wow,
owned mangoes out there, and he worked Caponos at the Aloha Tower as
wow.
manager, general manager. Yeah, did a lot of big things.
Wow. So, Cindy is in the house. She's up in Central
Cindy Park.
California. She
Hi,
just had a
Cindy.
birthday. Haolila hanao, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. We love it. Let me see. We have, let me see. We got a couple more have just popped in, and we'll catch up with them in just a few minutes. So, welcome,
Okay.
gang. Thank you for joining us over here. And I don't know, what do you think is, my mind is just blown over here, Pualilia. Where do you think we should start?
I want to start at the beginning.
Let's start from the very beginning.
From the beginning, it all started when, and the reason why is because, well, it's, everything has a beginning, and middle, and end, but not just that this is the beginning, because I want to bring up two people that I have admired and revered for many, many years. We're going to have a whole lot of great stories to share today, but I want to start with your mom and dad in
Yeah,
Samoa and
perfect.
moving on to Hawaii, because again, much respect for your parents. They're amazing people.
Yes, they are. Thank you very much. Well, my mom's from American Samoa. My dad is from Western, now called Samoa. And my dad, he wanted to move away from Western Samoa at the time because, like, you don't know if you like fall in love with the girl, it could be your cousin, huh? So, like, oh, I gotta go to another island. So, American Samoa was the closest Samoan country. So it was like American territory. There's a chance that we won't marry our cousin. So he went out there, performed. For many years at the Rainmaker Hotel, and he met this beautiful girl who had a barbershop out there with her father, and she was playing hard to get. Oh, look at this guy with the mullet! Yeah, you like haircut? And he's like, and the mullet was the big thing. He still get the mullet, by the way. And he's like, I don't let anybody cut this mullet except this lady. So they ended up being together for many years, and she had a chance of marrying all these handsome, rich guys out there in American Samoa, but somehow she ended up with this musician from a small, poor country of Samoa, and I'm glad they ended up together.
Tell us about this picture, Loa.
Yeah, this is a picture of my grandparents. This is my mom's parents. There's my grandfather there in the middle, the tall gentleman there in the t-shirt. We do have very similar features. He comes from the Laulangi family, Manua, and then also that's my grandmother there. She's from the Falo family in Whangatomo, American Samoa. So that's kind of like the wedding from from back in the day, just to show you.
Wow, wow. And they sure know how to party, man. They sure know how to party over there. This is
This is the party right after the wedding. You can see my grandparents way back there, and like this is island style luau. Right after the church, we just come out and spread out the food right after the umu or the imu, and just share amongst the villagers.
party. Classic, 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 classic.
Now that was my mom's biological mom, by the way. So she passed away when my mom was two, and then my grandfather remarried to my grandmother, Simema Tivalalangi, and then so that's how that was.
Yeah. And so now, um, the family. Now there's some movement happening over here with your dad between Samoa, California. He is in Hawaii. So kind of track us through that. What's going on?
Interesting. I'm learning so much about my dad because I'm in the middle of helping him write his autobiography, and I got to interview him for several hours, and I had to transcribe all this information that I never knew until now. And he was a kid of 21 brothers and sisters growing up in Malifa. His father was a carpenter, but a very very strict man. So my dad was just like yearning to be an entertainer. You know, he was highly influenced by Maria Lanza, a very famous opera singer that was on TV back in the day. So you imagine the kid kind of taking a peek in the movie theaters. You see this fabulous Hollywood star, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be like that guy. How do you sing like that opera?" So he started singing like that as a little kid, and people would look at him funny. Why is this kid trying to sound like that's a weird sounding singing with this opera singer? And then like he had to go to a waterfall and sing under the waterfall and sing out like "Sole mio." So people would never hear him. I was like, Dad, that's a really vivid image. I would love to capture that somehow on film, which is my goal eventually to tell the story.
Wow.
And eventually, he grew up and just learned ukulele by himself, guitar, started like walking around the town and becoming a real popular entertainer. And, people knew like this guy was like something special. It was something different about him. And he was so determined to come to America because of the movies. And he knew that like this is the place where they send people to the moon. So people in Western Samoa, like they send people to New Zealand. That's like the closest continent. That's another place to send people to the university. But he's like, I'm not going over there. They didn't send no people to the moon. I'm going to America. This is where they make it happen. This is where I'm going to have my kids and everything. So that was his goal, to go to Hollywood and be a big time singer. But he met my mom along the way in American Samoa. Then when they got married, they moved to Southern California, Orange County, Balboa Bay Club, because somebody saw him in Samoa and was like, there was this Howley guy who was drinking beer, was all drunk. He was like, I like you. I think you should come and play at my club at the Balboa Bay Club in Orange County. And my dad took that really seriously. 2 weeks, he showed up later, with unannounced and in his lava coming off of the airplane, never been to America in his life, holding his wife in his hand on a guitar. And he's like, "Hey, brother, you said you wanted me to come and play." And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, sure." So he had a contract there for years. That's why I was born in Orange County in '76. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my
And
goodness.
it was amazing. It was amazing. My sister was born in Boise, Idaho, CISA. But after that, after having a couple kids, my parents realized, man, this is like too much for family. So they moved back to Samoa and they raised us there as youngsters.
I see. Wow. Melvin Leeds is saying, nice to know our locals are spreading our music out there. Absolutely. Thank you, Melvin. In fact, she says that Jerome Gray and I sang Uso Samoa, his composition, at the Jubilee in Western Samoa in Apia Park. Wow.
Yeah. You know what? We have a history with Melvin Lee. When I was a kid, my parents, my dad was highly influenced also by Hawaiian musicians, and as when he came to Samoa, he met Melvin, and they sang all these shows, and he invited her to come down to Western Samoa. She came down with her family, and we were at the beaches. We spent time with. It was a lot of fun, and then people were like, "Who is Hawaii? This Hawaiian lady?" She came out here and sang, "We are Samoa" with my dad at the stadiums, and we're like, "She's amazing." What a great duet they made. So like they performed quite a lot around that time.
Wow. She says it
Yeah.
did many concerts in Western Samoa. And
Melvin
Melvin
is a
says,
beast. He's so good.
your grandparents are very dear friends of mine. I love them so much. Oh, man.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Auntie.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here's a comment from Roseanne. She says, it's a beautiful picture of your mom and dad. Of course, we
Thank
lost
you.
your mom not too long ago.
2 years
Um,
ago.
has it been
Exactly.
2 years? Oh my.
Wasn't that long?
Oh my.
Wow.
Seems just like
Yeah.
yesterday. Seemed just like
I
yesterday.
know.
Um, Yeah.
I heard it said, when I was still living in California, and me, I always was, again, I'm your stalker, and and I would see your
That's okay.
parents, and I would always want to, here, let's take a selfie. And when I would post it on Facebook, a lot of people all over the place were like, "Oh my gosh, that's Jerome Gray. He was known as the Samoan Elvis back in Samoa. He was just the man."
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I just know him as Uncle Jerome.
I mean, like I remember him back in Samoa. He's the guy that walks around singing to the audience. Like, he brought a lot of stuff that he saw in LA and in Las Vegas and in Hawaii that people weren't doing in Samoa. There were a lot of bands in Samoa playing jazz and pop, but it was very just perform kind, like just play your instrument and sing. But he was an entertainer, and he wanted to do that, and he learned from the big timers in all these other countries, and he brought it back to Samoa, and he presented it in a whole way that people never seen before, and it kind of made a name for himself doing that.
Very innovative. Very, very, very innovative. Melvin says that one day we were sitting around after Jerome's show at the Primo Garden with his band members. Then we were talking about how Samoans are built big and strong and happy. We all agreed. Then he turned to his band members, who was skinny, and asked, "So, how come you so sad?" We busted laughing.
That sounds like a dad joke.
You cannot be
Oh,
Samoan because you're skinny. You cannot be Samoan.
yeah. Don't trust the skinny Simone, huh?
Oh, that's so funny.
um, so let's just catch up over here because now your family in Honolulu.
Hmm.
You're going to St. Louis High School, and what are your aspirations? What direction your parents are pointing you in? What direction as you get to your senior year and going forward?
Yes, well, I'm going to go back just a little bit. When we were in Samoa at the time, there were all four of us were born. Mata and Ana were born in American Samoa. Then we all lived in Western for some time. And my parents realized that the education in Samoa wasn't where he wanted to take us, and we knew that it was either New Zealand or the U.S. And so my dad, he had a cousin that passed away in a major car accident when he was youngster in New Zealand, and he had some bad memories, and he's just like, I don't want to go to New Zealand. And plus, it was the U.S. where they sent people to the moon, so we're going to take my kids there. We'll do some big things. So and then we had a decision. Either we go to Hawaii or we go to Los Angeles. So he only knew of those two places that he was familiar with. Around that same time, the riots on CNN were on in LA, and he said, "Okay, we're going Hawaii." It was an easy decision. So I'm very grateful that he made that decision because I made some lifelong friends in Hawaii, and I got to enjoy the beautiful culture that Hawaii presents to the world, and I got to meet my wife. And as I grew up in Samoa, it was a culture shock. Because I've never seen young girls with makeup. I went to Mauna Loa Intermediate for a first year in Washington Intermediate. I went in between schools, and I was like, oh my goodness, U.S. public school is a lot different than I expected because, woo, it was nuts. Because in Samoa, even public school, everybody wears uniform. There's like very respectful to the teachers. But like when I came to the U.S. system, it was a little bit like culture shock. But I had to get used to it. That's why my parents are like, "Oh, you're going private school because you used to private school." That was the decision they made to go to St. Louis because it was Catholic school. My family is Catholic, and they just there's my wife. You know what? We went to Mauna Loa Winter Ball, '93. We're both juniors. Thank goodness she asked me because her brother wasn't available. We weren't even dating at the time.
Oh, that's funny.
Wait, did you say good thing that her brother wasn't available? Is that-
So get this, man. I met this girl at St. Augustine's Waikiki. I was the altar boy. She was the choir girl. Took me 3 years to say something to her because I had no game. I couldn't even speak to any girl. She was my one and only, just to be frank, in front of everybody here. She was the only girlfriend I had in my life. But the funny thing is, the minute I saw this girl walk in the church, this little Filipino girl, I was like, oh my goodness, that's the girl I'm going to marry. And I had no idea what that meant. It was just like a cool line to say to your cousins at the time. Oh, I'm going to marry that chick, bro. But 3 years to say something. But she wasn't available. She was dating another guy, and I was just like, I have no chance in heaven with this girl because she liked blonde hair, blue eyed guys, the super kind.
Oh no.
Yup, like someone's no way, bro. Yeah, but I showed her what's up eventually. We became very good friends, after she broke up with the other guy. And, I think she saw something in me that, I think I'm grateful that she did. I'm not like a fast paced guy with the women, but I was in love with her and I showed her every day. Even to this day, we make 19 years this June.
Wow.
Oh
Look, how
no.
can you resist this handsome Polynesian? Come on.
Oh my goodness,
Come
bruh.
on now.
Believe it or not, I'm wearing basketball shorts in that outfit because we came from basketball practice. Same thing at St. Louis, 94, baby. Go Crusaders, baby. Red and blue.
That's actually what. That's why Uncle Kamaka and I love these video interviews because from here up we're good.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever's
yeah.
down there doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I'm wearing my sandwich Al BBDs right now. That's all I'm wearing. I don't like show everybody, but
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Now, at some point over here, now you were uh, going toward architectural design. I mean, after St. Louis, you were. I mean, music wasn't part of that scene, was it? Very
no, not
much.
at all. In fact, my dad persuaded us like not to do music, but because he knew how hard it was. He was just like, it was so hard to support a family of four. In Waikiki, you're making $75 a night playing under the banyan tree. Like, oh my goodness, like, and he had hits on the radio. And he tried to sell his music at the swap meet. Like he was a hustler, selling out of his car, whatever it takes to send my kids, not just to provide for them, but also to send them to private school. St. Louis, St. Francis, Sacred Hearts, St.
Yeah.
Patrick's. All four of us went to private school, and they sacrificed a lot. I mean, I can tell you how many motels we've slept in because they believed in the power of private school education or higher education. That is, they were determined to put us through college, and they've sold the house and the car to do whatever it takes to get the tuition. But now as a father, I realized like there are easier ways to do things, and but they were straight from the islands. They didn't know what to do. It was just like, okay, pay the tuition, let's go get the whatever it take. They didn't see other opportunities like scholarship and etc. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, sorry, architecture. You mentioned architecture. My dad said, "No, you're not going to be a musician. You're going to do something that gets paid well." So your grandfather was a carpenter. Your uncle was a carpenter. I think you should be in that architecture realm since you like to be a cartoonist, drawing. I wanted to be an animator for Disney for so long because I love drawing cartoons. And I was just very creative that way, not musically. And my counselor at St. Louis, you know how you take the test, like your personality test, and then after you press the button, like all the list of all the careers come up. Only architecture came up. I was like, oh, son of a gun, man. This guy. But it was like, man, this guy spoke to my dad before you did this. I knew it, man. So my dad was just like, oh shoot, man. There's no money in cartooning animation. That's why I went to Woodbury University. I studied architecture. But on my second year in architecture, Beauty and the Beast comes out, Disney, and I'm like, look at that. They're making money. I could be doing that. But no regrets. I met lifelong friends studying architecture at Woodbury University, and I learned a lot that I apply today still in the music industry.
Wow. Wow. These guys now become good friends of yours. Are they? You
These are
start.
my brothers.
Ah, tell us
After
about. Yeah.
architecture, yeah. I'm sorry. After graduating from architecture, I went back to Southern California. I'm sorry. I went back to Honolulu, and I worked at a firm in downtown, designing. Ironically, I was designing a building at downtown Disney, and then God was like, showing me like, you're not gonna do animation. You're gonna design buildings at Disney. I was just like, I wasn't really happy. It was really cool doing it for 2 years. I wanted to know if it was something I wanted to do as a career, lifelong career. but instead something was calling me towards music. I didn't know too much about it. I've never performed much, but I met some friends that were like, "Hey, I heard you sing at the St. Louis graduation." I led my St. Louis what do you call a graduation class to their through the ceremony, and I sang. And College Hang right in the middle right now has produced so many records, even from Josh Tatofi, just to name a few. And there's Kuhio there on the right of him, the bowler head gentleman there, where PCC Afatia from Tihati, Afatia Thompson, and Loa Family right in front of me there on the left. All my brothers, we created this album, and we opened up for Lou Rawls at the Honolulu Symphony Pops. We opened up for Henry Capono, and we did some wonderful things out there during those couple of years.
Amazing group of talent, huh? Wow.
That is remarkable. And if you're on social media at all, every once in a while, some of those little video clips of your live, some of your live performances will pop up, and I'm like, "Hey, I know that guy."
We did a Christmas show with Emmy Tamangbang. Like there's a YouTube video of us singing like, I forgot the name of the song, Dreaming of a White Christmas or something like that. And it was a lot of fun. We did some cool things with the boys, and then eventually everybody had families, and it was hard to, a typical thing for bands to go through. It's easier when you're solo, when you don't have a family to do a band. So later on, it was like everybody started doing their own thing, and we all still keep in contact. We're all family still.
Yeah.
Great. So in between high school and coming back to this to Honolulu to work in architecture, you guys were in California, kind of coming back and forth, or that was where you were focused at that time? Was it the entire family?
No, my family moved here to Southern California to be with my other siblings who were going to college. So my parents were really upset when I moved back to Hawaii by myself. They're like, "Why are you going? I thought you were going to stay up here and help the family." But my wife was waiting a long time, my girlfriend at the time. We were planning on, we wanted to be together for, and make it serious. And I had to pick. And, I just felt like my heart was calling me in Hawaii. And so I moved over there, and I started my own career. And that was when, me and Angie were dating at the time. And we were planning on getting married. And that year, she won Miss Hawaii 2000. And we're like, "Oh, postponed." And then she won Miss America in 2001. We're like, "Oh, postpone again."
Postpone again.
But it was a good reason to postpone. Yeah.
I was going to comment and let everybody know, let all our viewers know that you didn't just meet a young lady. You met like the young lady. She was extremely right. Extremely talented, extremely beautiful, extremely smart and intelligent, and she became Miss America 2001.
Yeah, the second Miss America out of Hawaii. The first was Carolyn Sapp, and then Angie was the second, and the first Filipino, teacher, to win. Yeah, and the first Asian overall to win the Miss America pageant, and she won over $100,000 in scholarship, only scholarship. And she was able to get her master's, and here she is. She's still she's a principal now in Southern California at a Catholic school out here, at the same school that our kids go to. But she's done some wonderful things. I was able to go to the White House the following year with her, and we had dinner at the White House. It was a presidential dinner at the Lincoln Room, where the Filipino president came and met with George Bush, and all the most powerful people in the world were in that room. There were only 60 people, and Angie was an ambassador of the Philippines, and I came right after working at Kualoa Ranch and like working in poop and ATVs on the side job, and I was telling my friends, "Yeah, we're going White House tomorrow." "Yeah, right, shut up. Just go take the people out on the horses." and then we was on the news the next day that we was at the White House, and we were dancing in the bar room. I mean, I feel like my life is a fairy tale, man. Sometimes it's like I can't even believe it. Like it's some of the crazy stuff that we've done, and it's been awesome. Like I said, I knew from the moment I saw her, like, man, I'm gonna marry this girl. There's something about her, and life's been good ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Melvin says
you did choose the right girl.
Thank you. I can't go to Vegas now. I'll lose every time now. All I know is
um, and what an amazing family came from that union. In fact, the
Oh,
what a great collection of the Gray family here, Loa. Amazing.
Yes, all those grandkids. My dad is just like, he wanted to make a big impact in the world, and he's done it in a way that he didn't expect, and he's loving it. He feels like a rich man. He is a rich man. I'm a rich man. This is what a beautiful family. Yeah.
And
oh,
amazing talent runs in that family as well. Just so.
Except for the guy there on the far left. Yeah. Kamaka.
actually, actually, that guy is pretty dang funny on that part.
He's all right. He's
That's
all
a
right.
that's
He's
a
I
talent
We like
within
funny
itself.
guys.
like funny guys. um, and there, I mean, look at that. It's
Aw.
an amazing um, family with you and Angie, and
Thank you. It's my
they are
treasure, right?
beautiful. They're beautiful, 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 and
Thank
mahalo for sharing that with us. That's
you. Yeah.
yeah.
Four
Uh,
boys and one girl. My goodness.
Valerie says she loves the gray ohana. And
Valerie, love you too.
Melvin is saying, give love and hugs to your parents and Angela, please. And so,
Aw.
absolutely, absolutely.
Heavenly hug to mom.
So, so we see that you are collaborating with a number of talented artists here in Southern California.
Yeah.
Yes.
We noticed that you've engaged in a number of possible projects, producing great music. Tell us a little bit about those collaborations over the years. That has been just an amazing meeting of minds and meeting of talent and producing fabulous music.
Yeah, during my days of rain, I was very just like, okay, tell me what to do. Like I'm just here, like I was a bass singer for that group. So I was always the low baritone, low bass when we were singing a cappella stuff, and I was loving it. I barely knew how to play the guitar. Thankful to my friend Pete from Seattle there at Pauhana. He allowed me the opportunity to come and play at Mango's in downtown Hawaii. And I was learning, I was playing with some guys, who was playing Hawaiian and whatever, and I was so thirsty for it to learn some more, and I started learning from other people, and I realized I love to create. It wasn't just gigging. I think probably the biggest moment for me to step out to the stage was when my dad had a stroke at the Mai Tai bar in Hawaii. I moved out here right after college, right after we got married, and my dad was working part-time. I was doing other businesses. I wasn't even in music. And then my dad had that stroke on stage, and it was just like, oh, that was we were so scared that night. We thought we were gonna lose him, and something happened up here for me. It snapped. It was just like, oh my goodness, if we lost him, nobody would continue his legacy. Like who's gonna do it? So I made a career change that time. I was doing architecture and real estate at the time, and I told my wife I need to do this. So I mean, the funny thing is, a couple of weeks after his stroke, my Thai bar called me and say, "Hey, I heard you play music too. You want to come in and sit in for your dad?" That his same hour, and I was just like, "Oh my goodness! Like this is a weird thing from God is telling me to do." And so I never performed solo in my life. It was always with Rain or Tihatis was playing, and I was sweating bullets on my first gig. I was like, "Oh, bruh, how you play this song? I only knew Brown Eyed Girl and like Steer It Up and like, oh my goodness!" And I had to do how many hours of this? And right there, it's just like I gotta go work on my craft. And from then on, it was just like I committed myself every night, every day to learn other songs, learn from there, and how do I do this in front of people and after doing that for so many years, I was yearning to write my own music. So 2011, I came out with my Shades of Grey album, and I had all of this built up about my wife and my life, and I started putting it on paper, and I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, thank God. I thought I didn't have this knack of writing songs like my dad did. Mata came like that, he went to school for music, and I didn't know I had it in me. I was always a visual person with architecture, and for the first time at that moment, I enjoyed creating music, and then it wouldn't stop. And I started collaborating with people like Sean Ishimoto and we recorded. He was on my Shades of Grey album, a BB Sean. Some people know him as BB Sean, but he doesn't like that. I'm sorry. He's probably listening in right now, brother Sean. I love you. There he is,
I,
and there he is, man. He's played drums on my project, guitar, bass, multi talented instrumentalist, and a good brother of mine. He lives in Vegas right now. We did some amazing projects together. I collaborated with him, and we produced, some other artists along the way. Kalama Brothers. I was working with the Kalama Brothers. We did a few shows with them.
Mhm.
There they are. These guys are hilarious, man, and what a great group of brothers they are, and they're so talented and beautiful voices, and it was fun working with them. And brother Nappy. I mean, we have such a close. There it is.
Hey,
So
all right.
Disney has been a big,
Trader
yeah.
Sam's.
This is all Trader Sam's. These are the musicians. I would say probably half of them. We had our first Muso night there and celebrated as musicians. Disney has been a blessing to me. I told you I always wanted to be an animator for Disney, but the ironic thing is that when they called me, they knew I played music out here in Southern California. I started to make a name for myself, and once they opened up Trader Sam's, they were looking for some fellows to come out there and play on the patio. And I thank God that people, they knew of me and what I could do, and they were able to come out there and audition me, and so me and my brother Mata, we did it. We opened up Trader Sam's for the first several months, along with brother Nappy and Tui Letuli, Kavika, Valoria, and it was music every night, and it was a great time for us because we were able to sharpen our skills out there and play with each other and share our music with Ohana and all our new friends out there at Disney. So, I hope they open up soon. Yeah.
I do too. Even though I'm way over here, Trader Sam's is one of my most favorite places to sit. Well, partly because the music there was really good, Mr. Loa Greyson.
It is. And there's Uncle Tor and Uncle Tala. Uncle Tor, we just lost him a few months ago. And there's my dad, of course. And this is right after my dad's second stroke. These are his brothers and my uncles that I learned from when we were living here in Southern California. Very talented musicians. Miss them.
Yeah, sad about Tor. Such a sweet man. Just
biggest heart.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
And, looking at that picture, and not just your collaborations with all of these other musicians and creating some really great music. There's a project that actually got me really emotional because I respect your parents so much, was a project that you're putting together as a tribute to your father specifically. And I'll tell you right now, you really are carrying on his legacy, like just you're on point. You want to tell our viewers about that tribute?
Yeah, well, if you look at, there it is. It's the Eleni project. I did a Kickstarter a few years ago. Right after mom passed away, my dad, he started to feel very lonely, as you would expect. And like he just needed something to kind of give him a pickup, and I wanted to do this for him. I basically covered 23 of his songs on this Kickstarter project. I went and picked all the songs that I connected to because he's written so many. And 23 of them, I went out there. In 6 months, I recorded these songs right here in Hollywood. My friend Mark Solomon. I got Shawnee Shimoto to help me out and a few of my friends, including my brother, my sisters. And I got them on this project. And we surprised him. He didn't know. It was Christmas time. There's Brother Mark in the middle of our session. And it was December, and we wanted to surprise my dad with this big presentation. So that orange cover there, it's a giant 4x4 mural that was painted by JP, what do you call, Pereira, Jason Pereira, very famous and wonderful artist out here in Los Angeles. And he covered this Eleni, and there's my dad and my hand. We posed for this picture without him knowing what it was. He was like, "What is this for?" No worries, Dad. I'm just taking a picture. So he took that image, and Eleni is sardines. So that was his first hit song back in 1980, and it was a big hit on the radio. And so I wanted to cover that. And that was the first song you heard, or the second song you heard on the introduction, Eleni. Eleni, it was people like, man, this is so different. What is this song about? And why is it so danceable? It was kind of a protest song back in the day. Eleni, just to tell you a little bit about it, it was a can of fish, there was corruption in politics, in the government, and people were like, man, people are getting poor. And the only thing that they ate was a can of Eleni. It was the sardines. And so my dad was just like, you know what? The song was about like you can cook it with curry, you can make stew, you can bake it, so many different ways, and everybody's getting richer. We're gonna sit here and just keep on playing our tin can. So it was a positive song of inspiration to lift people's spirits up. Like, you know what, whatever. We're not gonna make much money, but we're gonna be positive and make lemonade out of lemons. So that's what that whole song is about. And
Wow.
when we surprised him in December with this project, he was just like, "Oh, a mural, beautiful mural." And then we were like, "No, Dad." Then we played every song for him, and he cried. Kamaka, you were there.
I was there. In fact, I'm kind of getting kind of misty right now because I'm reliving
Right?
that moment when your dad walked in and he looked up and he went, "Oh, that's really nice," and then
Yeah,
and
she
then
thought it was a Christmas party.
and then Sisa
Anna,
and Anna sat him down and said, "Dad, this is for you. This is." And he's going, "What?" And then he connected, because he had no idea.
he
Um,
didn't know it was for him. It was just like he was coming to a Christmas party at Tupua. Thank you, Stefan Senor, for setting that up. But then we are like, "No, Dad, this is we want to do something for you, And Glenn Stern was there. Thank you, Glenn was there. Awesome to have my brother. Yeah, man. When he heard the album, he cried, and we played it like 5 times on repeat, 23 songs, you know. And like he pulled me on the side, and like he just like put his arm around me, and he said, "Ooh, what did he say? Ua atoa lo uloto," means my heart is fulfilled. It was just like he just
Oh.
whispered that to me,
Woo!
and I was just like, "Oh my goodness!" Like I
Oh.
started like, "Ooh," because he was telling everybody like, here I was. I thought all you guys forgot about me because we were all ignoring him around that Christmas time. We're like, "We're gonna ruin the surprise." And, it was a special moment because he said, "I didn't know that you guys even knew my songs or sung it or like he just thought like I thought my songs was just gonna."
Uh-oh, we lost TD.
Oh
Connection. Oh no. He'll pop back in. But Glenn is saying it's the most beautiful moment I ever saw. Yeah. Um,
no. Yeah. I
definitely. Welcome back.
There we
Um,
go. Hold
Glenn,
on one
I don't know what
second.
happened.
Glenn was saying it's
Don't
the
worry.
most beautiful moment I ever saw, you ever experienced.
Thank you, Glenn, man. So
Yeah.
glad he was there.
And so, yeah, I think the many Hoonies are playing with our network now because Pualilia just popped in, and we're fine.
You, you
we're
know,
gonna.
my wife went to Mauna Lua. I'm Mauna Lua Menehunis.
Oh
She's
yeah,
probably causing it.
yeah. So we will get everybody. We'll get everybody back on right there.
Situate.
The many Hoonies always work a little bit of mischief, and uh, that's cool. Uh, Indeed, that was. In fact, this is the T-shirt from that the release of that album right there, Eleni, right
Well,
here, bro. And
it was given to the Kickstarter backers, and that's you, of course. I really thank you for your financial support,
absolutely,
Kamaka. I mean, you wouldn't have made it happen. We were able to raise $10,000 for that whole project, and in a matter of 2 weeks. And I was so like touched, that
bro.
anybody wanted to do this.
I saw that Kickstarter, and I go, "Pfft, don't even have to think about it, man. This is for Jerome, it's for Uncle, and we're gonna make it happen. So
Thank you.
blessed to be part of that. Thank you, man, to share that moment because that was amazing, amazing day to share with your
Thank
family
you.
there, man. Absolutely.
And that record was specifically for the Kickstarter backers. So all of that, most of that music is unreleased. So only Eleni the single came out, and we just released Island Beauty a few months ago. If you guys want to check it out online, Island Beauty, and we're slowly going to bring it out. We don't want to bring it all at one time
Sure.
because we just
So
kind of want to make it special for each song.
So Glenn is saying that was definitely magic,
Oh,
definitely
it was.
magic. Um, I have, and I wanted to just kind of share this right here.
Gotta put the glasses on, kids.
Trade winds blow your name to me. Waves of the sea, whispering that you are waiting there for me.
What
My
a
island made
amazing contemporary sound you brought to that.
river
So this is your dad's
across the
song.
sea.
Yes, it was on the same album as the Eleni song, and he wrote that specifically for my mom. And so
Aw.
I sang this song at her memorial service because it was hers. Yeah.
Whew, bruh, I getting chicken skin on my
I was
chicken
gonna say,
skin.
I need a
Ah,
moment. I need a moment. I
I
need a
need a moment
moment.
too.
whew. Oh man, I
Oh
getting
wow.
all getting white maka over here, bro. I get,
Oh,
oh
thank you. Well, every time I play that song, I know she's listening, and even my dad is just like, oh, I'm just glad that I have his blessing because he's like, oh my goodness, this is such a beautiful way to hear this song. Is we're so used, and I was so afraid, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher this word or like the language, and like, but I had to. I had to. It was the only way I could learning from his songs, and I made sure like I had to execute, not just musically, but also the words and the intent, what was behind it.
man, you have done that song well here. The arrangement is beautiful too.
Sing as you
Thank you. Those beautiful vocals are my cousin Soli Ali. He was a very talented artist, up and coming artist. Soli is
Swells.
that's him and I producing those background vocals as well. Sean Ishimoto is on the drums and the guitar. Brandon Shaw on the bass. And you know, it was a fun project. Mark
Wow.
Solomon mixed and mastered.
Wow. That's
So
beautiful.
Paul Hanna Seattle says, you got to send me the lyrics for Eleni. I keep trying to learn it by ear, but my hearing not so good. And my Samoan is even worse than my hearing. I got to be able to cover at least one of you and Uncle Jerome's songs.
You got it, man. At least learn the chorus. It's only A Lenny, and like you can repeat it 10,000 times.
Here's Roseanne. She says, so beautiful. Yes, you are. You bring tears to our eyes. Oh, I'm so. Oh.
Thank you, Zen.
So it's not just us then. It's not just me and Pualilia. I'm glad that's being transferred out there because.
I passed out onions to everybody before today.
And it's Samoan onions, so it's big onions, bro. And big
Woo!
tears, big
Never
tears.
trust a skinny onion.
Well, the long list of the things that you do, as far as just, in and outside of music. You also have a collaborator in that wonderful, amazing wife of yours, and you guys are working on a project. You work together on a project called Nalu's Wave, correct?
Yes.
Tell
My
us
wife
about
is,
Nalu's Wave.
of course. My wife is also a singer. I met her in church, and she was the choir girl, like I said. And it's just like I heard her voice. I was like, oh, so beautiful. She was the typical choir girl with that high voice. And but her heart is in education. I knew her from a very young age. She said she wanted to be a principal. She was inspired by her principal and her second grade teacher. And still today, she's a strong educator. And, we're very strong advocates at home as well with education and the arts with our kids. So there was a moment where I wanted our kids to learn Samoan, and she wanted to teach the kids Tagalog, but she doesn't speak that well. So, but the common language obviously is English. So it's hard for me to like, how do I teach the kids when we don't even speak it in front of each other? So I remember as a kid growing up in Samoa, I learned English watching Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers and Electric Company. And like, no, seriously, because like, you're in Samoa, all you speak Samoan, and then I was just like, man, and I love Disney. I love to create. This is like my biggest aha moment. I'm like, goodness, I love to create things like that, like Disney-ish and Sesame Street like. And I started drawing these characters, and I was just like, what if we did puppets like this? And like, what if we taught Samoan and Hawaiian and Tagalog using like the whole format from Sesame Street? And this music was started coming out of my head like Mahakita, teaching "I love you" in Samoan. I mean, in Tagalog, and other Samoan. Like I wrote the alphabet in Samoan, a whole beautiful melody, how to count. Our other buddy Ryan Kalama wrote these beautiful songs, and we had this idea. We're like, let's produce a show where we get to teach second generation, even first generation kids who don't live in the islands their family's language. That's the concept of Nalu's wave. Nalu's wave. Nalu is wave. Nalu means wave. Our main character there is Nalu. And so we collaborated with all these producers who are on Nickelodeon, Sesame Street, etc. And we came up with this concept, and we were trying to pitch our show to other networks, and then the pandemic happened. So when that happened, we were able to produce smaller clips for them. And there we are with our characters.
Oh, wow.
There's Nalu on the left, Kimo, Pili, the lizard. Pili is lizard. And then we have Pua. I mean, not Pua. We have Junior the Pua over there. And then we have Tani, the Tani Fa in blue on the right. And then Mele, the chicken. And it's such a fun project. Our kids are learning from all the music. And we're like, we want to take this far, but we need the support of the community, in making this happen. So we'd love to put something together where we can find more people to come out and help us out. It's a labor of love for sure. There's brother Pualilia from the Black Eyed Peas. We shot our one of our few episodes with them on gosh, I forgot the word of the day. We did the Tagalog word of the day, and we went out to Hollywood and we shot an episode with them. So that's not released yet. We were waiting for the right time to bring that out. So, but you can visit naluswave.com and see something we did with Troy Polamalu. We did Sapo and Tongi, how to say catch. We were throwing the football and catching the football with our character Nalu and Troy Polamalu, and some other wonderful things we did. So we want to do more for sure. But as you know, it takes a lot of financial backing and all this other stuff. But this is the stuff that we want to give back to the community.
Nalu's wave. That is absolutely beautiful. We will keep our ears peeled for that, and please keep us abreast as soon as things start ramping up. And if there are ways in which finances are important, I know you're looking for sponsors, or you're looking for underwriters or anything along that.
Yes,
so
please.
If any in our community, put that out there. You never know, right?
Yep.
The folks that we know as well. So. What a beautiful project. Sounds like
the point that I was trying to make was that this is where music and education came together. Me providing the music and the artistic side of things, and my wife being an educator, we were able to finally work together on this project. Because before it was just all family. We're doing things separately, but this is the first time we're actually bringing it together.
Yeah. So Pualilia, it sounds like the Great Ohana has definitely been pretty busy in spite of the pandemic.
Right. You took full advantage of the stay-at-home order.
I don't know if we did that.
Hey, you know what? I see Angie's videos of the kids doing their thing, and yeah, you did. Yes, you did. You guys have been busy. I just like Angie am a big advocate for education, and so I actually champion both of you. I'm a fan of yours as far as musicals. I'm a fan of hers because of her commitment to education
Thank you. And you're in
and
education too, all right? Recently, Pula?
I am, yeah. Actually,
What do you?
I actually the reason I came home was to get my master's in Hawaiian studies, but I'm also dual major with early childhood education, and so
Yeah.
We
yay.
should work together.
So Loa, let's just the common denominator in all of this, as I'm listening as in our conversation, has been your family. Your mom and dad. With, I mean, they saw what was happening around. They guided their children. They guided you. Like you said, man, the riots were happening in LA. They go, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to make whatever changes we need to protect our family. And
Hmm.
you now take that legacy with your own family, and you take that very seriously as well. And we were talking about that before we went on the air, about the importance of family, the importance of teaching, discipline, and focus, and anything that we do at a young age as well.
Yes, definitely. My kids, by the way, that's a school bell. I'm at a school. I don't know if you heard that, but yeah, that's how serious we take education. I'm here doing this in the middle of a school. Um, my parents, just like everybody else, instilled something in them. And for us, it was to do well in education and for the community. And so, and in order for you to do that, you need to be pono with yourself, right? You need to be a complete person, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. And I think they did a wonderful job providing that for us, and we try to instill the same values to our kids. And right now I have my two sons. They go to a Catholic high school in Whittier. They're both 4.5 honor students. They play instruments, multiple instruments very well, but they're very humble kids. But as a dad, you have the right to brag about your own kids. So, I don't, and I hardly do that, but I'm very proud of them because I know that, like, I learned a lot from my parents, and they want me to be better than them, and I feel the same way about my kids. I want them to be better than us as well, and I want them to learn from my mistakes, and I want them to make their own mistakes and get up and keep going. Don't let anything hold you down, and always give back to the community because what goes around comes around, and it's important to have a strong family foundation as well as the overall community foundation because they are also supporting you, and you should be supporting them as well.
Really.
Yeah.
So as the
Absolutely.
world starts to adjust to the new normal, I got to put some quotes on over here. What's on your plate for the coming year, as it be for projects, or what kind of things do you have in mind?
Well, I'm releasing a new song called "Home Again." I have, believe it or not, there are three music videos that we shot for this song, and it's coming out in about a month's time. And it's a fun, upbeat song for the summer. Everybody gets to enjoy it. And then after that, I'm going to release another Samoan song that I did on the Eleni project. So, I'm becoming a traditional artist, but at the same time, I do want to release some contemporary stuff here and there. That's it musically, but I'm also trying to apply myself. Nalu's Wave is something that we really want to carry forth this coming year and bring it out into the public even more so, and hopefully do multiple cultures, multiple languages, and present it in a way that our future can benefit, meaning our kids.
Sure.
And not just that too. We have high schoolers that I'm hope my goal is to get them to college and, like, go out and leave the nest and go out there and do whatever you can, make us proud. And like I said, we have 5 kids, so we still have a kindergartner, a preschooler, excuse me. So we're gonna be parents for a very long time still, but it's going by fast. That's so first and foremost, that's important to us is our kids, because once they leave, then we can finally take that trip to Paris. I can take my girlfriend, and, like, she's been dying to go to Paris. I'm like, oh, one of these days, babes, one of these days.
One of these days.
Uh,
Oh wow, look at our time has flown by. Oh my goodness.
Woo, fast guy.
This has been an amazing hour. Of course, always enjoy our time with you, Loa, because not just our familiarity, but the fact that you are a wonderful human being and have a wonderful family, and you're growing a wonderful family too. And wow, wow! I think we should have a part two.
I think so, right?
We'll have it at the bar.
Well, please.
No, thank you. It's been such an honor. Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. Pua, very proud of you with what you're doing with education. Uncle Kamaka with this show. What a wonderful platform to have all these guests to come up and share their stories and all their successes. You should be in the middle here. We need to hear more about you too, Kamaka and Pua. So I hope to interview you guys one day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
That would be an honor.
Please keep us in the loop with new projects. Yeah. And much love to you and your ohana from us here at the Sandwich Island Social Network. Loa, mahalo to our friends who dropped in and were part of our conversation today. It was so awesome. So awesome, man.
And of course, we want to invite everybody, especially the not just the people that come every week, because we love you, love you, love you. You're part of our family, but we want to invite new people, get involved in the conversation. Sandwich Island Social Network, we've been around for quite some time, and our content is for our community. So check our schedule on Sandwich Island Social Network's calendar for all the 411 on that, but also visit us on YouTube. We do have a YouTube channel. All of our content is put up there. Hit the like button and subscribe. That way you get and the bell notifications. You got to be notified. That way you know when we got new stuff, because we always get new stuff. But of course, nothing compares to some of the people we get to engage in. And this week has definitely been one of those, huh, Uncle Kamaka?
Oh, good fun. So awesome. So we come to the end of our time together again. Mahalo, Loa, for being with us. And Pualilia, got to go back to studying, get back to the books now. I tell you, it's
I do. I actually have a Zoom class coming here in about 24 minutes.
Well, have fun with that.
We love it. Thank you so much. Everyone have a great day, and we will have an opportunity to see all of you again soon. Aloha, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Woo-hoo!